Hey everybody, welcome back to another video with Gem Mint Masters. The day has finally arrived where we are starting to get some of our Michael Jordan orders back. I submitted these all probably, from the first to the last one, 2 months apart, but they're coming back together. So, for one, it's a good sign. PSA is getting through these orders finally, starting to get them back to us. But it's a little frustrating because it's actually not this one. It's one of the other orders that's coming after this was from May 15th. And we're on August 31st right now, and I still haven't got it back yet. It is completed, but I won't be getting it back until the first week of September. So, you're talking almost 4 months to get that back. Crazy. But like I said, some of the newer ones are coming back sooner. So I'm just happy to have some of these back. So we're going to go ahead and go through this one order today. And then we're going to have probably 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 orders, PSA reveals in the next week or two. 3 of them have already been completed. A 4th one will be completed very soon. And then a 5th one is in grading. So lots to come. So we'll try to get through these and see, kind of test our theory out. Hopefully you saw the last Michael Jordan reveal. We did pretty well. So let's see if we can continue the streak here. And I will say I've already seen these grades. I think you guys, just like the last one, are going to be in for a wild ride. So stay put and enjoy. Because, I've had a lot of fun doing these. And let's just see if this is going to validate our mission to do this. So, all right, here we go. First card, we got a 1996 Flair Showcase Row 2. This is probably to be expected with a card like this as an 8. I see a lot of them coming back like this. Super amazing looking cards. Still decent value even in an 8. This is, I think, like $50. So this is actually a card you can get and you can break even on. His market has gone up like crazy since I started buying these, because again, some of these are from May and June, but man, the Michael Jordan market is just crazy right now. So if you can find them at good prices, you're probably gonna have your best bet on shows or through connections through Facebook or whatever it may be. That's the best route to go, I would say. And you're gonna get the closest look at them. Cards like this particular one are somewhat notorious for having these kind of like surface print lines, and I think they kind of ding you for those. But otherwise, I mean, the front and the back look great. Corners look great. Edges look great. It's just going to be those surface print lines. But again, an 8 isn't terrible in that one. So, just kind of take what we can get on that. All right, next one here. You'll see kind of a common theme here. I've said this before, if I'm getting 8s and above, I feel like I'm doing my job. I should expect 9s if I think they're going to get 10s. But then also expect 8s at the same time. All right, next one here, we got 95 Stadium Club. Not a super high-end card, but just one I thought was really cool to have graded. We got an 8 on this one. This is a great copy. Corners look great. Edges look great. And then if we go over to the back, same thing. No whiting on any of the corners at all on this entire card. So what does it come down to? It's most likely surface, which, like I said, I do my best to look at. But, sometimes things get overlooked. There can be these very fine scratches. So shine a bright light and zoom in as much as you can on these. But you're definitely going to miss some. I do as well. And I'll just, kind of take the hit on that sometimes. But, hopefully you'll win out more than you lose. And let's see, kind of recap at the end here. And I think it's probably going to show us that that's worth this effort. So, all right, next one here, 1991 Flair. This is a card that is driving me insane. I've done quite a few of these up to this point. This is probably the best centered one I could find. Top to bottom centering looks good. Right even looks pretty good. Still getting an 8 on it. I've gotten, I think, 1 9, but I've gotten, like, literally every single other one has gotten an 8. This is just a card I'm on a mission to go get a gem copy of. Super cheap card. $300, $250 to $300 in a PSA 10. It's not about the value necessarily for me at this point. It's just about proving I can do it. But like I said, I'm going to drive myself insane doing it. An 8 is one of those cards where it's a, $15 card probably. So, I got to really make sure I'm hedging my bets with some other stuff to offset that a little bit. So, all right. Next one here. We have 4 of this card in here. Man, I thought this looked so good too. 1995 Upper Deck, number 23. Such a cool looking card. Very sharp copies. Got these from a guy that sold me kind of a small collection, and he kept these in really great shape. I submitted all 4 of them on this order just to see how they do. We got a 9 on this one. This is actually still a pretty valuable card in a 9. I think it's like 26, 27 bucks. And I think I only paid like $2 a piece on these. So that's actually a break-even card, if not a little bit more. So, but that's a 9. And in a 10, that's a pretty valuable card. All right, here, this next one, this is a card that I had really high hopes for. I think we had 4 of these in here as well. I will tell you right now, just to save the suspense when you start counting these, one actually did come back mint size. Here it is, I'll show you. This is the 1989 Hoops, came back mint size. Not really sure why. I had 4 of them, they all look the same. But then we got this one, here's the first one. We got a 10 on this card. I've said this before on some of my videos. This is a card that I would definitely seek out if you're trying to go out and start grading Michael Jordans. These generally are very clean. Centering can be an issue, but find a good centered copy on it. And then send those in. But it's white borders all around the front and the back. Such a nice looking card. Also look for any kind of yellowing around the edges. You should be able to see that because it goes white and then it's kind of yellow in the middle. So if you see more yellow on the edges, don't send those. A super cool card, somewhere in the $175 to $200 range, I believe, on that. So I'm happy to get that. That was a fun one. All right, next one here. We got another Gem Mint 10. 1993 Topps, number 23. I've seen a couple of these comeback 10s, and the centering is not perfect, but, everything else on this card must be perfect. It's such a cool card. I wanted to have this one in the collection. This one, along with the Hoops, are going to go in my collection. I don't have either of those yet, so I'm excited to add those. This is a pretty decently valuable card, to be honest. I talked about this a while back with these base cards. They do carry some good value. So you'll see it on the screen here. That's definitely a good one. So you can pick that up for a few bucks. All right, we got another 95 Upper Deck, and we got another 9. I thought they all looked pretty much the same. So, sometimes that can be to your benefit and sometimes it can be to your detriment. But I've still kind of always believed in that philosophy. Send, a good amount of copies. Hopefully one of them sticks out and you get a 10. But again, like I just said a little bit ago, this is a decent value card in a 9. It's not too shabby there. And like I've said before too, anytime you can get a 9, really no complaints. Here's another great example. We've gotten, I think, some 9s in this card before. Definitely a hard card to gem, pretty low gem rate. Now that I'm looking at it, I am seeing a little bit of whiting on the corners, but I guess I'll walk away and kind of say I'm happy with this one getting a 9. 1993 Stadium Club. Any of the Stadium Clubs, if you can get a 9, you'll be pretty well off. And you can pick them up pretty cheap, the same as, some of these kind of lower end Fleers like this. But if you have a choice to pick, let's say, this one up for $2 versus this one for $3, you're going to have a lower risk on this one, I would say. But again, you want to find a clean copy of it. That's certainly going to make the difference. All right, we got another one here. We got another Hoops, and we got another 10. This is a card that I had just mentioned a little bit ago. This is kind of an experiment to see how we did. And so far, 2 for 2. Super low risk card, high potential return, as you've seen. And this really, I will say, it's no surprise, but this particular card or cards definitely drove up a lot of the value on this order to really make it worth it in the end. So I'm excited about that. All right, next one here, and we got another 10. We got the 1993 Flair League Leader. Out of the 10s, spoiler alert, of the other 10s in this order, this is probably the least valuable one. I think right around $100. I've said before, I'm probably going to steer away from grading more low-end stuff, but man, I have a hard time getting away from it if I see a super clean copy and then things like this happen, and it does make it worth it. Again, this is a card you can pick up for a few bucks. if you can get a card like this turned into a $100 card, you're going to do pretty well. Your cost is $20, $22, I think is kind of what I figured if I add in shipping and tax and all that. And then add the cost of the cards, we're about $25 into a card like that. So I think it's well worth it. All right, 91 Flair, as I said, again, the bane of my existence. And now I'm starting to get a lot of half grades on these. This one I thought actually looked a lot better than some of the other copies I submitted. And the centering probably couldn't be any more perfect. Top to bottom and right, you can see, same thickness on all of them. Man, I don't know what I missed on some stuff like this. You know, maybe the centering's off on the back, but there's a huge variance on the back that's acceptable compared to the front. And these corners all look clean. So, you know, cool looking card. At one of these days, I'm going to have to probably stop submitting these 91 Flair cards because they are driving me nuts. But the moment I actually hit a 10, I'll probably say, well, maybe I'll just keep doing this. Who knows? All right, another 95 Upper Deck and another 9. I'm not even going to bother getting into it, but as I've said before, still a decent value card. I wouldn't shy away from submitting this because it says a ton of value in a 10. So 3 for 3 so far on 9s of that card. All right, stepping it up a little notch here. Another 1995 Finest. I am actually happy with this one, but I am on a mission, just like some of these others, to get a 10 in this card. I think the cost to buy these has gone up quite a bit. I want to say it's in like the $40 to $50 range now, but there was a point in time just a few months ago where I was picking these up in the $20 to $30 range, and this is like a $100 card plus in a PSA 9. So like all the Finest I've done, I did peel the protective cover off. I still have yet to see a very clean protective film on these Finest, so until I do, I'm gonna peel them off every time. But man, this copy looked great. Perfect centering, perfect, you know, finish on the front. There must be something on the back potentially that drove this one, but a 9, again, can't complain. That is a really cool card. Still a ton of value, around $100, maybe even a little bit more on that one. So all right, back to it. Another 1989 Hoops and another 10. So technically, we are 3 for 3, 100% gem on this card on this order. So I can't say enough about this one. I've got a bunch more of these coming on other orders too. So let's see how we do overall. But man, what a nice card. And I like this card too. It's an iconic, kind of older. This is probably one of the cheapest cards you can get that's, you know, in the 80s. You know, it's a non-90s card, and you can get it for a few bucks, and you can turn it into a pretty decent value. Again, $170 to $200, somewhere in that range. Really awesome card. Maybe the value goes down in something like that, but again, I don't think that's going to be the case because it is Michael Jordan. But the secret is out, or at least I'm telling you the secret's out. Go sub that if you're looking for an older Michael Jordan card to grade yourself and get a nice grade on. So, all right, last 95 Upper Deck, and we actually did get one lower grade on here, so we got an 8. So 3 9s and an 8. Not terrible, but we did not achieve a 10 on this card, unfortunately. I was definitely thinking we were going to get at least one, but this may be another one I revisit down the road. But again, I got to find some good, clean copies of it because I cannot take getting an 8 in something like this. Really got to get a 9, and you probably, and like I said, you're actually making a few bucks on a 9, so not so bad. All right, I think this is the only non-Michael Jordan card in here, but this just looks so good. I had to submit it. I got this out of a dollar box. One of my favorite sets from the 90s, 1993 Ultra, Anfernee, Hardaway, famous nicknames, Penny. You can see there. We got a 9 on that one. Still not too bad of a value, I think, in a 9, but I love this set. They're not hard to get out of these packs. I actually have a rip coming up. I'm not going to spoil too much on it, but a ton of famous nicknames come out of this set. You buy a box of this 1993 Ultra, I think it's the Series 2, and you're getting like 10 of these in a box, or I could be a little high on that, but you're getting a ton of these. And they just look really good. Dark corners all the way around, and then the back, you should be able to spot anything. This one looked great. I didn't really see much wrong with it, so not too disappointed with a 9, but would have liked to see a 10 in that. But again, it's so hard on this older stuff, 90s, to get 10s. You know, go in expecting 8s and 9s and hoping for 10s. And if you look at these 3 stacks, that's pretty much the formula. All right, next one here, Topps Gold, number 101, 1993. We got an 8. I think I can kind of see right away the centering not the best on this, top to bottom. I thought it was a nice looking card. This is, I would say, probably another card or cards that I'm kind of on a mission is these Topps Gold. I just love these, and I would love to have the full set of these in PSA 10s. I think I have one right now that I sub myself, and I think there's 1 or 2 more in this order. So a lot of value in PSA 10 on these. Even in 8s and 9s, not too bad. And you can buy these for $5 to $10. There is the base card version or the more expensive in, you know, raw condition, but you can pick these up all day, surprisingly, for pretty cheap. All right, next one here. Actually, I think these next handful, I did a box rip not that long ago. Got some really nice looking copies of the 1990 Skybox and Hoops Michael Jordans. And I must say on this first one, I'm definitely a bit underwhelmed. I thought this one looked great. Centering looks perfect. It came straight out of the pack. There were no surface issues. Maybe there's some kind of edge issue, something, but man, that's somewhat disappointing. I was kind of hoping that would do better. This is a really hard one to gem. You'll see by the gem rates, but man, I've heard of a lot of people trying to sub these, buying fresh boxes, because these boxes are like $50 and you can pull about 3 of these out of there. But this has got some great value in a 10, but the reason it does is because they're really hard to gem. So it's just the way it goes. You know, same with this one here. 1990 Hoops. Notorious for centering issues. This copy looked really nice. Now that I'm looking at it, this is kind of, okay, yeah. These shift a lot in these holders, I must say. But the centering on this one, corners, all this stuff, looked pretty solid. So I had high hopes, but again, a 9 isn't terrible, but something like this isn't just isn't going to carry a ton of value in a 9, but in a 10, really nice. Silver border all the way around. Yellow on the back. I believe this one came out of a pack, but I also do remember pulling some out of the packs that didn't look that great. So, all right, got a couple more of these Skybox, and we got a 9 on this one. This one is weird because if you look at this one here, this one, it's in a completely different holder. I don't know why they did this. Let me show you here. You can see there's this huge gap here. It's got kind of that like sealed bag in there to kind of keep it in the case, but then this one has the holder that fits the card perfectly. For some strange, odd reason, they put this one in this weird kind of vacuum seal case, and I have zero idea why, and it does not look great in there. It's all the way at the bottom. I definitely would have preferred, you can kind of see the case if I shine it a little bit. I would have preferred it in this one, nice and centered in the holder, but I don't know why they did that. But that one got a 9, and this one that looks way better in my opinion, just from the aesthetics, got an 8. So, and then we go to this one here, another one, same card, completely different holder for some reason, and this one got a 9. Same order, same grader. I don't get it. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But yep, so we did 2 9s and an 8 on this card. 9 I think is okay, but it's really just kind of one of those 10 or bust type of cards. I really was hoping to get a 10 on that because it is a super cool card, very iconic. This is the first year I ripped. So I was really hoping for more. All right, so I'm saving the best for last. I kind of did this on purpose. And I'm hoping this will blow your mind a bit because it blew mine as I got this order. You know, a lot of times it can be 1, maybe 2, a handful of cards that really make the value of your order. I think this one single-handedly did it for me. So we got a 1993 Topps Gold. We got a PSA 10 on this amazing card right here. This is a crazy... Hold on, I think we got a hair on the front. There we go. I was hoping I wasn't a scratch. It's a crazy valuable card, right around the $900 range. And I remember this card very vividly. I bought it with a lot of the cards in this order from that collection I bought. $10 for this card. So you're talking about a 90x on the value of this card from raw to graded PSA 10. Very, very, very hard gem rate. But man, I am just like, I'm in awe of this. This is a card going in my collection. Super excited. As I said, this is a card that really made the value of this order. The value of this one card alone paid for this entire order with the cost, I believe, and the grading. It's insane. Not selling it because it's going to my collection, but just the value that it brings is just really cool. So let's end it on a high note there. And again, this is kind of proving that the mission is working. We're having success. We've got a decent amount of 10s here. We ended up with 6 PSA 10s in this order out of, I think it was 20. This might have been a 23 card order, but technically 22 because they did not grade one of the hoops. They gave it a min size, so I didn't get charged, which is nice. But 6 PSA 10s, a whole bunch of 9s, and then 8s, and nothing below that. So I would consider that a success. You know, we're going to keep striving for doing better, getting more 10s. But I am extremely happy, especially with this one card right here and a few others I'm going to add to my collection. Thanks for joining me. Plenty more to come. Some exciting reveals coming with some really big cards, hopefully some more 10s. And we'll see how it goes. So thanks again for joining. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one.